Hi, Stefan, the BMW DIY guy. My install today is the 6WB digital console into my 435 F32. Now, this is from BimmerTech, and they're going to be doing the remote coding that is required to install this part as well. And they have a great install video out, which is really quick and walks you through the same process, but I wanted to share it as well, kind of my experience of going through it, and share that with you. I'll also be doing a review video once I've got the display in and functional and show you the differences. I'm really excited for this, so let's get out to the car. It's a quick and simple install and easy to do. Okay, so I'm out in the car. First thing I did was I pulled the negative post off my battery in the trunk. You pull the little compartment door off on the right hand side, and you take a 10mm socket or driver and pull the nut, or loosen the nut on the negative post, pull the post off, and tuck that cable away to the side so it'll be out of the way and safe, and you won't have electricity through your car while you're doing this work on electronics. Next thing you want to do is you want to lower the lever on the steering wheel, pull it out and down as far as it'll go. And BimmerTech has a really good video on this, but I just wanted to echo how easy this process really can be when you do it. Now, there's two T20 bolts right here and here. You can use a T20 Torx thumb driver. I actually found that my screws were in so tight that I actually used a small T20 socket and used my ratchet to loosen these. And then you just tip your fingernails in or your trim tool in and tip this out. Now, there's little hooks on the bottom of the display, so you just tip it forward and lift up, and this will walk right out of place as you tip it back. Now, the other thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your plastic trim tool, because there's 3 cables across the back. There's a little plastic clip here on the right side that's really impossible to show with the display in place. You'll want to use your plastic trim tool to loosen that little plastic clip, and then the display will come out the rest of the way, and you can back those cables off. And then it's a matter of just pulling those cables off and putting the new one in. Let me pull this and get my trim tool, and then I'll show you what I do next. So I walk the display forward and sideways to be able to see the back, and you've got 2 or 3 cables depending on your setup. I have the heads-up display, so I believe that's what the blue optical cable here is for. And each one of these plugs has a little pressure clip that you press on, and you pull the plug out. I found in my case the blue one was incredibly tight. I actually had to get an extra set of hands to hold the display, and then have both hands using one hand on the cable and one hand using my plastic trim tool to depress the blue plastic locking tab on it to get it out, and then gently back it out of the plug. So for whatever reason, it was spectacularly tight. You can see all 3 plugs here. So now the space is all nice and open and void. So all you need to do is just reverse the process. Now here's my digital display. There's a series of hooks on the bottom. So when you slide this in, you're gonna connect all of those cables, reconnect that white. As you can see, hopefully right here, there is a little white locking tab that goes in on the lower right-hand corner to help keep all the cables in line. You plug all these in, you plug this white tab back in, and then when you put the display in, you're going to want to tip it in and then down because of these little hooks on the bottom that need to hook into the lower section of your dash right here. Just tip it back into place and put the 2 T20s back in the top, and you should be good to go. All in all, this isn't hard, and it should take probably 10 minutes or less. Just be really careful when you pull those plugs out, because the last thing you want to do is mangle one of your plugs. So I'm going to put the new one in and get the cables all hooked up, put the new one back in, and then I'll show you when it's done. All my cables are on, and before you button it back up, make sure that the cables are in really snug. They only go in one orientation, and they should click as they go in. The blue one doesn't click because the retainer tab is too small, but I made sure that it was in very firmly. And so you have the other 2 cables if you have all 3. So like I said, you tip the back side in, there's these little hooks on the bottom, you get that hooked into the lower portion of your dash right here, and then just tip it right back up into place, and bang, just like that, it's up, tips in, and all you have to do is put the 2 screws in, and you're good to go. Next steps are going to be remote coding from BimmerTech. Okay, so the new display is installed, the two screws are in. I'm going to plug my battery back in by reconnecting my ground post, so I'm ready for remote coding from BimmerTech, which I'll plug into the OBD port down here at the bottom with my laptop. They'll remote code everything, and it'll be good to go. Okay, back inside after a quick test drive to make sure everything is working correctly and with a few change settings. So for example, I have the heads-up display, and because of the particular model of the head unit in my car, if I change to the 6WB display, I no longer get navigation in my HUD display, which is okay because I really didn't pay much attention when using it for navigation. So, but you can flip it and you've got really high res navigation right in the center of the digital display. So that's just a checkbox that you go into in the car settings. And the remote coding process is really kind of cool. BimmerTech will send you all the instructions on how to do it. There's some applications you're going to need to download onto your laptop and get up and running before you're ready to go. You set up a Skype session to talk to their tech, and then they'll remote to your computer, plug into the car, and we'll do all the remote coding. It's really kind of cool to see there and sit and watch them do all that work and watch your displays turn on and off and update and get corrected for your correct settings for your car and your region. All in all, really quick, really simple. As you can see, the install process really is only 2 screws and tipping the display out and then tipping the new one in. Make sure that those bottom hooks are set when you tip it back in, and all the cables are in and in firmly. I think that's really important that you don't end up with a loose cable. But all in all, you can see the install is really, really simple. I'll be planning on doing a review video so you can see all the display changes and all the updates there, which are really cool. And I look forward to seeing you on my next video.